want to tell you a story about how hard it is for people with Asperger's to belong. And of course, this is back when I didn't know I had Asperger's and when I was a really little kid. But actually, this is the time that I remember, the first time I ever remember belonging, okay? And you'll be like, you won't understand this, but I have to tell it through my eyes, and this is how it went down. My mom will remember this, and my sister will remember this quite well. I didn't quite process it at the time. Well, anyway, during my early days, I'm like in and out of institutions when I'm young, right? And because they were trying to figure out, I was hyperactive, I was, trying to, build things or break things or climb things or, wasn't afraid of heights at the time or all this kind of stuff, I guess, come to find out. And so, anyway, they were always trying to figure out what's wrong with me. And parents, I tell you what, parents really have it hard. Because back then in the 70s, they didn't know what to do. And I didn't realize what my parents went through, really, until I look back and I realized this was really hard for them. And we really need to give a break to the parents and understand that we weren't mature enough maybe as a society, and maybe some of the doctors should have, I don't know. I don't want to put too much on the doctors either. But just on a side note, it's like, I just think it's a little tough on the parents. So anyway, this is one of those tough experiences. So I think I get released from the hospital during one of these times, and basically the kids in the block are like, you know how kids are, they were like, let's rid the block of Brian. Now, this was kind of fun for me, because all of a sudden, now I'm center stage in a play game. So what happens is now I have to walk, this kind of makes me nervous a little bit, telling this story. But what happens is I literally, the game took set, and I don't know if they were chasing around, we played, and then we went in the garage somewhere, and anyway, so what happens is they start actually tying me up, and all the time I remember thinking, man, I'm just glad I belong, so they tie me up, and I'm strapped down the chair, and I'm just playing along, and then they start pouring gasoline around me, and I'm like, and then they start lighting matches, and then, anyway, long story short, I guess a mom or someone goes through the door, and what happens after that is kind of a blur to me, because I'm not processing this. At a young child, I really don't remember processing this. And then I get home, and my mom literally, I think, if I remember correctly, freaking out, or I'm not sure exactly what happened. I just remember, I remember more of feelings that I had. I remember thinking, why doesn't she want me to play with the kids? Doesn't she want me to belong? And I could not understand this as a kid. And I really, when I look back on that time, I didn't realize this. And I want to say this story because it really gives insight in something. And I don't know if someone can understand this story. But I noticed some things that followed there, and maybe control issues of anything that developed in trying to get control of something. But when I was young and this happened, I don't know how I processed it as a kid, but after that, I do remember playing with fire a lot. And maybe some psychology person can tell me why that occurs. And let me tell you, when the story ends up in telling how my parents did the right thing. Well, anyway, I started lighting everything on fire. I don't know if it was now I was the one, playing with the world. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what was going through my little head at the time. But all I know is after that incident, I never noticed that was the incident. After that incident, I literally started setting fires, and then I loved fire. Until, and this is what my parents did right, until they took me, and this might have been very questionable at the time, but until they took me to the fire department, and the fire department had me actually sit down and go through all these pictures. And they were horrendous pictures. I mean, they were terrifying pictures. But you know what? I don't ever remember having a problem with setting fires after that. And I tell this story for a lot of reasons. Just, for one, to help you understand why people with Asperger's, they might think they're trying to belong, and I don't think I knew what was belonging and what was not belonging. I just cared to be a part of anything at the time. I hope the story helps somebody. Thanks.